Most people think their business isn't growing because of their funnel, their content, their website, or any other number of reasons. But I had a meeting recently with a guy named Mark. At least that's what we're going to call him for this video. And Mark was right about my age. I'm 28, and he was an incredibly smart and very ambitious person. He understood how funnels worked, and that's actually pretty rare for people in digital marketing. They don't really understand it. They usually say something like, "Oh, you mean like a website?" No. Not like a website. But what I noticed while talking to Mark is that there was one really crucial thing that he wasn't picking up on that was stopping his business from growing. Now, Mark made right around 20-ish thousand per month, which is pretty solid. He had quite a bit of overhead, and he also had probably about 5 or 6 employees, let's say. While making 20K a month, that's pretty solid, but whenever you remove the other things, the employees, the overhead, and whatever other costs that he has, Mark was kind of in a rough spot. He wants to grow and scale, but the thing that was holding him back is that he wouldn't delegate. Now, whenever we were sitting in the meeting, which by the way, we were meeting right back there in my office, so we were here talking, but the main thing that Mark was running into was that he wanted to do it all. Mark didn't really have a passion for marketing. He didn't really have a passion for accounting. He didn't really have a passion for a lot of the other stuff that comes with running a business, but he was committed to doing it. And that created a massive problem for Mark. And it's still a problem that he's dealing with to this day. So basically what happened is Mark decided to come and meet with us and talk to us about creating the back end of a funnel. All he wanted us to do was do the workflows. He wanted to take care of everything else. The issue that comes in whenever you want somebody to do just one small piece of the puzzle is that that piece isn't always going to fit whenever you do everything else, right? So if you don't know how to build a landing page that looks good or converts people with the right copywriting or the right follow-up, whatever else it is, the right lead magnet, the right ads, all this stuff that comes into becoming a quality product and a good service or a good system for your business, you're going to run into some major issues, mostly just diminishing returns. You spend $1,000 on ads and you make back $300, something like that. So instead of spending his nights figuring out what he can do to make his business better, Mark was spending his nights figuring out how to market better and still trying to figure out how to fulfill customer work. So he's exhausted, he's plateauing, and his business is stuck right now. And that is kind of the big problem that we see whenever people don't delegate. Delegate being if you need something done and you're not the guy for it, you don't know how marketing works, you don't know how to build a website, you don't know how to do your own accounting. The problem that people run into a lot of the times is they just want to do it. They want to figure it out because they don't want to spend money on it. They want to know how it works. So the real problem that we're getting into here is people want control, especially business owners. Business owners love keeping control. And I even told Mark at that time, I was like, dude, you want to have your hand in everything about the business to the highest degree. And he's like, yes, I want to know how everything works. If I have to replace somebody, I want to be able to train them amazingly on that specific topic, no matter what it is. And I was like, okay, so that's fine. The issue that you're going to run into is that you're just not going to have time. Your business is going to end up suffering, and the customer care that you offer is going to start to decline after a while. And the reason why is because you're spending all your time learning things that other people, it's a full-time job for somebody. So for me, marketing is something I do from the time I wake up until the time I go to bed. That's not what he does. So it's this massive process where you have to kind of take yourself out of the equation. And here's the thing, you want to learn enough to not be ignorant on it. You want to learn enough to hire. You want to learn enough to actually look at something, right? Marketing company comes to you because there are marketing companies out there like this. You know it, I know it, Mark knows it, everybody knows it, that there are marketing companies that will come to you and say, hey, we will build you the most amazing website for $1,100 or let's say $11,000. We want a massive amount of money, but we're going to build the coolest website. And then they go build it and it's on WordPress and it takes like 15 minutes to build, and you've just got screwed out of $11,000. So having enough knowledge to hire somebody on that topic and actually check them, absolutely worth it. But whenever you're talking about doing everything yourself, it's going to take years for you to learn how to do your taxes exceptionally well, how to build websites, how to market your business, how to create content on social media. All of these things are going to take so much longer than they should if you're doing them yourself. And I'm not saying you have to outsource every single one of them, but if you're trying to do all of them, that's a huge problem. And that is something that Mark was running into. And so we sat down and we talked to Mark, and I said, hey, listen, man, we absolutely have to kind of change this a little bit. You're trying to do everything. You don't have all the time in the world to do all of this stuff. So what we would like to do is let me help you go through this process. Let's help you create content. Let's help you actually get the ecosystem rolling, and we'll be there for you to help you. And it was really cool because by the end of the conversation, you could kind of tell that he was getting it. He was really starting to understand that he's the bottleneck. And we're trying to remove the bottleneck, because any business, if you want scalability, the bottleneck is almost always going to be the business owner in this case, because I'm guilty of it too. I want to do everything. I don't want to hire somebody to run my ads for me when I can just run my ads. I don't want to hire somebody to build my website when I can build my website. The only thing that I'm like, oh yeah, get that off my plate is accounting, because I hate accounting. But everything else in my business, operations, onboarding, offboarding, all of our CRM stuff, everything, I'm like, oh, I want to be in there. That's the stuff that I enjoy. And I enjoy doing it for my business, and I enjoy doing it for other people. And that's why we get hired. But at the end of the day, whenever you're a roofer, you want to be a roofer. You don't want to be an accountant. You don't want to be a marketing company. You don't want to be any of these other things. You don't want to be a content house, pumping out a ton of content. Hire other people to do it. And so here's what I say. Here's my thought. If you are in Mark's position, and I know many of you guys out there are, I am in Mark's position to an extent. I am always the type of person who's like, no, I want to do it. I want to do this myself, or I don't want to spend the money on it. Find the things that you are the least passionate about, the things that you are the worst at, the things that you do not know, the things that you don't have time to learn. The things that maybe just aren't under your umbrella, right? If you're doing a car wash, you don't want to learn the marketing side of it, most likely. If you're in that position, do yourself a huge favor and try to delegate. Those are the first tasks that you want to delegate. Again, learn enough that you're dangerous. Learn enough that if somebody tries to get one past you, or somebody tries to give you some BS answer or some BS solution to a problem, you can at least ask the questions and make them kind of struggle through it, or give you an answer and then look it up. Because the whole goal is to just make yourself scalable. That's all Mark wanted. And so if he wants a true answer to how he can do that, how he can scale from 20 to 40 to 60 to 80 to 100K per month, the answer is going to be find people you trust. Know enough to be dangerous, but hire out so that it can get done quicker, more efficient, the right way, and you can actually spend your time doing something else, like finding a second location, envisioning the future for your business, or any number of other things. Who's your next hire? Where do they come from? Who do you need? What's the next service that you're going to start offering? Blah, blah, blah. That's the job of a business owner, is anything within that industry itself. Also, learning how to be in business is a massive pain. There are a lot of hurdles. People make tons of mistakes that cost them time, money, relationships. If you want to avoid a lot of that, I actually have a free ebook. It's the first link in the description down below. It is 100 plus lessons I've learned over my 10 years in entrepreneurship. I wrote it by hand, so there's plenty of nice little mistakes. It's nice and personal for all of you guys out there. I got some pop culture references, Zombieland references, stuff like that, stuff that I like in there. So if you want to avoid spending a lot of time, money, and effort on things that you can learn by reading a quick book, check out that book. It's completely free, and it's the first link in the description down below. So the real reason your business isn't growing, it's not because of your strategy, it's not because of your team, it's not because of your industry, it's not because of digital marketing factors. Chances are, if you're not growing, it's because you're not delegating tasks to people who can do them better than you, faster than you, and just things that you shouldn't bother with. At a certain point, a business owner's time becomes valuable, like more valuable than anybody else in their team typically. You're the visionary. You're the X factor in why that business exists. So take that X factor and actually do something with it. If you're still scheduling your social media posts and your company is doing $40,000 a month, you did something wrong. Delegate it. Hire some personal assistant for $10 an hour or $15 an hour and give it to them. Have them go do it. Delegate. Make more time for the things that matter for your business the most, and you will completely change your life, just like Mark hopefully changes his life here pretty soon. And hopefully we can get him to scale too. I'm really excited. Hopefully we may have a second episode on Mark. We'll see. Share this video out there with somebody who needs to know that delegation is the key to growth, the key to success, the key to scaling any business, and subscribe for more content just like this. Anyway, guys, much love and peace.